This video is brought to you by my Discord server. You want to chat with other fans? You want to chat with me? Well, hop in right now. The link is in the description. It's super fun and I'll see you there. There's a reason why people buy Nintendo consoles over and over again. It is usually to play the latest game in their favorite franchise. And you know, Nintendo has lots of them. Mario, Zelda, Kirby, Star Fox, Metroid, F-Zero, Pikmin, Pokemon, you name it! There have been a couple of times where the characters of these game series have appeared in other universes. Just think of last week's Star Link, where the Switch version features Star Fox. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But it isn't something new though, it happened before. And today, we're gonna take a look at 7 times where Nintendo characters have crossed universes and went somewhere else. Alright, let's go. Anyone remember that game called Soul Calibur 2? If you do, you definitely know where I'm going with this. Soul Calibur 2 is a fighting game featuring tons of different characters, each with their own unique moves and weapons. But there was one thing that set Soul Calibur 2 apart from other fighting games at the time. It has to do with the exclusive fighters available on each consoles. The game was released on PS2, GameCube and Xbox, and all of those versions have one special character. The Xbox version had the comic book character Spawn, the PS2 version had the Tekken character Heihachi, but the superior GameCube version had none other than Link himself. I remember learning about Link's inclusion while reading Nintendo Power, and I knew I had to play this game at one point. I literally had zero knowledge of the Soul Calibur game series, but adding Link was more than enough to get me interested in it. Link turned out to be quite a good character for this franchise and was fitting for that type of game. The only part where it looked kinda weird was when the characters were discussing before the fight, cause you know, remember Link doesn't really talk, so the conversations usually ended up like this. Yeah, that's kinda goofy. But besides that, Link is amazing in this game, and I wish they would bring back Link in other Soul Calibur games. The SSX series is one of my favorite sports series from the GameCube era. I spent countless hours playing SSX 3 as I used to rent it all the time at my local Blockbuster. I eventually bought it to add it to my collection, and a sequel was released for PS2, GameCube and Xbox called SSX On Tour. The GameCube version of this game has a little bit more than the other 2 versions. Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach are playable in this version of the game. Mario and Luigi both use a snowboard while Peach is using skis. While being a fun inclusion, they look so goofy snowboarding next to human characters. The tricks in the SSX series always were pretty crazy, and it's amazing seeing Mario, Luigi, and Peach doing all of those crazy tricks. I mean, look at those moves, that's not even possible. But it's so dang cool! Snowboarding and skiing wasn't the only out-of-place activity that the 3 would be doing during the GameCube era. In fact, the multi-platform game NBA Street Volume 3 included Mario, Luigi, and Peach in the GameCube version. Who knew Princess Peach could slam dunk like a pro? This weird crossover once again pit Mario and his pals against real human beings, and once again it looks goofy, but it is so fun to look at. I actually kind of miss this time where EA and Nintendo just had this special business relationship that allowed crossovers like these. Punch-Out was an NES game featuring a character called Little Mac in his boxing quest to become the champion. Along the way, he fought many characters like Soda Popinski, King Hippo, Glass Joe, and even Mike Tyson in the original game. Well, in the original NES game, the referee was none other than our boy Mario. The game received a reboot sort of game for the Nintendo Wii. It is pretty much the same game as Punch-Out and it's called the same, but it's with nicer graphics. It was pretty good too. Mike Tyson sadly was not in this one, but we had our boy Donkey Kong. It wasn't his first time on the ring though, as he previously battled King K. Rool in Donkey Kong 64. Donkey Kong has some great battle skills and will give Little Mac a run for his money. I remember having so much trouble beating that crazy gorilla, but it was so cool to see him in a non-Donkey Kong game that I truly didn't care that he beat my butt over and over again. I just kept on playing and eventually Donkey Kong was defeated. When you think about Olympic Games, you usually think of athletes running, diving, skiing, working hard. Well, in 2007, just a little bit before the Olympics, there was one officially approved Olympic game that came out. Of course, you know I'm talking about Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. You gotta put this into context here. Mario and Sonic were rivals in the old times where the Super Nintendo was competing against the Sega Genesis. Since they were two rival companies, no one could even imagine we would be playing them together in an officially licensed game, and I'm sure no one could have imagined that it would be an Olympic game. This game was pretty fun when it came out, and it actually became a series of its own, having a couple of sequels coming out for 3DS and Wii U. Sadly, Sega no longer has the Olympic license to create more games for the series, so I doubt we'll ever see another one of those games, but it was one ambitious crossover. This next crossover might be the weirdest yet. You know the Pokemon series, right? Of course you do. It's an RPG where you gotta catch Pokemon, fight with them, and collect badges to become the Pokemon Master. Now, here's a game called Nobugana's Ambition, and it's a strategy game featuring different Japanese factions fighting in the many wars of the 16th century. These two games have nothing in common, so why am I telling you all of this? Well, here's a game for the Nintendo DS called Pokemon Conquest. And yes, it's a mashup of the two. I don't even know what happened there, but it led to one pretty interesting game. This game kinda plays like the Final Fantasy Tactics games in which you give instructions to your Pokemon and have to defeat the other army's Pokemon to win. As weird as it may be, this game was actually pretty good, but I don't think lots of people bought it just because the cover looks really weird. Why would I want to play a Pokemon game that has this guy on the cover? Who is this supposed to be? That ain't my boy Red. I don't want to have nothing to do with that. So, as the name implies, Mario Kart is a game about Mario and Kart. Thank you, ladies and gents, I figured that out myself. The game always had Mario and Donkey Kong together in this series, and considering Donkey Kong is part of Mario's legacy, it is safe to assume they're from the same universe. But starting with Mario Kart 8, well, Mario Kart quickly became Nintendo Kart, adding Link from The Legend of Zelda, as well as Villager and Isabelle from the Animal Crossing series. This game also features some F-Zero karts and tracks, but where is Captain Falcon, Nintendo? I need my Captain Falcon! Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch went one step further and added the Inklings from Splatoon, and at this point it's safe to say that this is no longer Mario Kart. They should really just call it Nintendo Kart and be done with it. Or I don't know, maybe Super Kart Bros. Anyways, we'll see once they announce the next game in the franchise.
Bonus
Crossover.
We have time for bonus.
Crossover.
Consider yourself lucky.
There have been other little crossovers during the Wii U and Switch era, you know, like Bowser and Donkey Kong being in Skylanders Superchargers, or Fire Emblem characters in the game Codenames Theme. I also think of Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which unites the Mario and Luigi and the Paper Mario series together. There was Dead or Alive Dimensions that included a Metroid Other M stage, and some Mario and Zelda items were present in Scribblenauts Unlimited. So hopefully there will be more crossovers like that in the future, as they're super interesting and they are a really good way of getting Nintendo gamers into non-Nintendo games. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.